What's up guys, it's Michael with InDesign Screen Printing, and today we're going to print on trucker hats using screen printed transfers.
Hey, what's going on guys? So one of the first steps you need to do when creating your screen printed transfers is of course your artwork. So here I'm using Illustrator for our artwork. Alright, so here I'm using Illustrator and I'm going to select the whole image, and a very important step you need to do here is right click, transform, go over to reflect, hit reflect, go to vertical, and hit OK. So what that's going to do is going to reflect it and make everything inverted. You'll see more about that as soon as we create our transfers.
Alright guys, I have our transparency laid out right here. If you want to take a look, it's inverted. We got the tape ready, and we're going to be putting it on a 160 mesh screen. Alright, now that our screen's done exposing, we're going to take off the transparency and wash it out. So these are some of the things you need to do this job. So we have foam trucker hats. This one's auto, and then the other one is Yupon. They're both the foam front trucker hats, and we've used both of these in the past, and they both react pretty much the same. So you can mix and match whatever you want. The next thing is we have the Ryonet transfer adhesion powder. Also the Ryonet heat transfer paper. It comes in a pack. We'll put the link in the bottom of the description for you guys to check them out. Now your next step is to run the transfer paper through your dryer between 300 and 320 degrees. So what we're doing here is getting the paper hot and shrinking it, pre-shrinking it, because once you put ink on it and you run it through, it's going to shrink and distort your image. So we're just taking that factor out of play and just running it through the dryer first. Alright, now that you have your paper out of the dryer, we already have a preset line. That's for the kind of a guideline of where to put the paper. So I'm just going to line it up, and make sure your platen is sticky, just to make sure the paper doesn't shift. So now I'm going to lay it down, and that's going to fit all of these images on the paper. Alright, now that we got our ink on the screen, we are using blue plastisol. Plastisol is the only ink that'll work for the heat transfer paper. You want to do 2 good pulls just to make sure you get that image nice and clear. Alright, so after you print the paper, your next step is to add the powder. I'm going to walk over here. So we already have some of our powder just inside this bin, because it does get kind of messy. So you want to, kind of gather it up to the side, put the paper inside. And you see how blue it is? So now you just want to cover all the ink with the powder. Let it stick to it. It's not really science, just get in there and move it around. Just make sure that it gets covered on all the exposed ink. And now you can see how it's kind of the ink is just attracting that powder. So you want to do this a couple times, make sure you get good coverage. Alright, now that we got the powder applied, you just kind of want to shake off all the excess powder. Then we're going to walk it over to our dryer, which is set at 240 to 280. You just want to get it at that temperature, but you don't want to cure it. You just want enough just for the powder to stick to the ink. And the rest of the curing process is going to happen at the hat clamp. Alright, now that your paper came out of the dryer, so now you don't have to get one of these, you could just use scissors, but this just makes it faster. Now you're going to cut each one. I just try to get kind of close to the ink as possible, and I mean later we'll trim the fat a little bit more, but so you want to cut each one of these out individually.
Alright, now that we've created our transfer papers, now what we're going to do is just find the center. That way we have a mark and a reference to know where the center is when we lay it onto the hats. So here I already know where the centers are. I'm just using a scissor mark on the top and bottom to know where the center's at. And that way when I fold it, I can just kind of give it a little fold and both points will meet, and that lets me know that's the center. It's just an easier trick that we use to apply it to the hat.
Now, the hat press we're using today is the Max Press. It is sold by Stahls, and I forgot the price, but I'll link the description in the bottom just so you guys have exact numbers. And so we already have it set up to 325 degrees, and it'll hold that pressure for about 5 seconds. So you kind of just lay the hat on there, get it centered, and this lever adds pressure. Okay, it's kind of lined up, and then you kind of just give it a little fold, and then there's already those slits that are cut for the center marks, and you're just gonna kind of eyeball it. So, and also you could use that crease in the top of the foam as a center mark, and just kind of just lighten everything up, so it looks pretty good. And then this is the paper that we use to, it just prevents the marks on the foam. So now we line everything up, set it down, and this is a hot peel, so right when it releases, you're going to want to take it off right away. Just be careful not to burn your hand. That's it. Alright guys, I hope you guys got some good information from this video. I'll try to put a description at the bottom, just the step-by-steps of what we did in case we went too fast. But you know, if you like the video, please you know, give us some feedback, leave some comments, or something you want to see in the future. And don't forget that thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.